I would disagree slightly because I think it is kind of a redundancy, because I agree with your point that there are bridges in place, and it's a valid point and a good question. As I mentioned when I was outlining my campaign platform, I would prefer to get the middleman out of the picture and have direct faculty-student roundtables, especially on pressing, burning issues. Because like I mentioned when I was outlining my platform, when you have a mediator, especially a mediator that loses steam over time, or a mediator that has to tiptoe around sensitive issues, when you have such a kind of mediator in place, you have the students' opinions festering in their corner, and you have the administration or faculty's opinions festering in their corner. So what I would do is take out the middleman, and instead of student government being a mediator or a negotiator, student government should be a broker. So getting the parties together on the table and then moderating them, but ultimately having them come to the compromise and then executing their compromise for them. So that's what I would do, because that's the best solution apart from improving the bridges continually till this time.
I think what you said was really, really good. I mean, honestly, again, Yale Uni students aren't stupid. Like, and Yale Uni students are very motivated. If they see a problem, they haven't been waiting for student government. My year waiting for student government to before we solve our problems. No, we went straight there. And it's been my experience that the students who want to get something done, they will find their way. Like, student government and student government. But my concern is, and this is where I feel student government can play a role in, is what about students who have a problem or they have a solution in mind, but they don't know who to go to. They don't know whether, is it just me who I'm feeling the problem? Like, is it just my problem? It's about student government being the aggregator for these people who may see a problem with something, but they feel like they don't know the numbers, or they don't know who to contact, or they feel like, I'm just a student, who am I to go talk to a professor? Because, not all students come from the same backgrounds, not all of them approach like faculty-student or like institution-student relationships the same way as other students. And I think that's where student government comes in, to help the people who really do need like the extra assistance in order to achieve their goal. That's where we come in. For students who know how to get things done, good for them. You know what? If they don't need help, even better. It means they know where to go, and that's great. We should try to work for that action. But for those who don't, that's where we come in.
So my first summer here, I worked with the EVP of administration, and having talked to them about and finding out how they feel about the whole situation in terms of people going directly to them to give feedback. We've had the luxury in the first couple of years, because we were a small school, that people could go up and directly find people in administration and speak to them directly about whatever problems they were having. We are getting to a point where the number of people, if everyone were to have a problem and everyone were to go to the same person to solve their problem, right? Like, just a hypothetical. If people keep going directly to, on their end, right? That's a lot of people coming in to find them. Whereas for us, as a student government, I feel like what we could do is we collate. We collate and we become a centralized body in which all these things pass through, so that people on the other end don't get frustrated by like 50 emails coming in talking about the same issue, right? We become, I know like having the middleman sounds like a really strange idea, but when you reach a school where when you reach 1,000 people, you can't have 1,000 people going up to Pericles Lewis or whoever becomes president next and telling them their problems about the school, right? You need to have a centralized body that does that and speaks to them on a personal level, on a level that is more personal.
I think you've answered one part of the question really brilliantly, and I agree to that. But Swarnima, I really think that question is a question that should drive the government. Like, what is the point if whatever we're doing? Because I feel that you're right. And a lot of times there are just so many committees doing the exact same thing, reaching to the exact same resources, that it's even just disorienting as a student to understand where to go to and whom to contact, and in those cases the student government seems redundant. And I really like this point that Avery had said, where she said that the student government has to find its niche, and I feel that it's time now that we've established like the ideology on which the government works, we try to find that niche. And I feel that question shouldn't just be answered in this gathering, but should be like a recurrent theme within the student government's activities, to actually not just do something but analyze if there's a point of doing what we're doing. And yeah, I think that's a great question, and thanks for raising that.
you. Oh. Patrick. You guys are not Patrick, so.
Alright, from what I understand of your proposals, they basically fall into three camps, right? One group of them are symbolic, dealing with things like the mascot. The other group of them are services, so making things easier, helping to gather information. The final category is what concerns me, though. Some of the things you're proposing are actual actions, or actual policy shifts on behalf of the government and on behalf of the school. Now, student governments in a lot of schools exist because the student body is so massive, being thousands and thousands of people, that it's hard for any group to act collectively on problems which collectively affect all members of that community. In Yale US, this isn't really the case. We have 1,000 at most students, not even that now. So, certain proposals that have been raised, for example, putting more emphasis on the sciences, expanding a certain lending program to provide aid in different ways, presumably distinct from financial aid in some way. These programs do sound reasonably controversial and may not garner wide community support. So how will you ensure that the policies your government proposes are actually in line with broad community support? Will you, for example, commit here and now to having direct democracy polling and approval for your actions before you take any government action which decisively shifts the policy of this school and this community?
Yes.
Yeah, this is not we're not going to just rule with a closed door. We're going to involve the people. We're going to talk to them, maybe not through direct democracy, because I know there was a lot of issues with it last year, if you're referring to the specific system on the government website. But yes, of course, we will involve the people in our decision-making process.
I think something good about having a government which is so young, having a school which is so young, is that you're so versatile and you're able to adapt and change very quickly. So I think the benefit of that is that the government can be very reactive. So when there is something wrong, something the student body is concerned about, I think the government can put into place like certain kind of voting, or certain kind of maybe a system might not be a direct democracy. Maybe some different systems to re-elucidate what exactly the student body is upset about, and then after that come to an analysis and come to a conclusion and see if it's possible to find a solution to it.
Yes, I would go with direct democracy, even with its difficulties. If you believe that a concern with it comes up, if the controversy is that high that it requires direct democracy, then I don't think participation will be an issue. If people really want their voice to be put out to the level of controversy that you think it might generate. But I have a feeling our job as student councillors, if that's the term, our job as student councillors is to have ideas and to listen to the ideas of the student body. So listening to the ideas of the student body is one thing, but when we have ideas, we put them out on our campaign platforms. It's not like we have secret plans that we're going to execute once we're voted. So we have our policies out in the open. And if we are elected, I do believe by every variant of democratic theory, that kind of basically validates, in many senses, public support. If not universal support, at least enough support for there to be a start for it to become a reality.
Well, it's worth noting all of you will be elected, right? I mean, it's very difficult to imagine you won't garner the necessary vote share. Given that our constitution supports a government of up to, I believe, 24 people.
23.
And the
So
minimum
you
vote
have
share is 1 over 8.
1 over how many people are running. So
Well, unless someone actively negatively campaigns against you, that will always happen.
no, but in terms of it's still not.
It's never
No,
good
but since
to
it's
assume
ranking,
anything.
everybody gets a rank. Anyway, this is a different issue. But in terms of democratic theory of legitimacy, I think the Constitution creates the difficulties there.
Alright, anyone else have something to say? Or
It does, but even though Yale NUS is a small community, we have about 700 students, and it's hard to cater to everyone's needs. So there needs to be some kind of majority of what the student body collectively wants, so that we can cater to their needs instead of going for individual needs, because it's hard for us to fulfill everyone's needs. So what we're perceiving here is as if student government is acting as a barrier between students and the administration. So it's better if we can act as a mediator better to facilitate the conversations and the communication between the students and the administration.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. T, I believe, has several short questions which require several but short answers.
Who wants to be president? Anyone? Okay. Anyone knows of anyone else who is running who wants to be president? Subhash. That's it? So because of, like what Chief Justice Wu said, right? Since you're all going to be elected into the government, the dynamics within the people who are sitting beside you now matter a lot. So who's going to be the leader?
Think about that within yourself.
So you said Subhash and now you, I guess.
I just threw my hat in the ring.
Sorry?
I just threw my hat in the ring.
Oh, you just threw, okay.
So apparently Avery, Basuto wishes to represent that Avery is also interested.
Avery said she doesn't want to. Okay.
Yeah, Avery, yes.
Alright, well, we don't
Don't
endorse
speak up
second-hand
on that.
accounts. Anyway.
So that's the first question. And then
Don't.
second question is, who has read the Constitution?
We'll keep it up.
What does it say in Article 5?
Wait, what section is this?
There are a couple
Test
of
me,
things
Regina.
that
How-
need to be amended.
How many
What the
bodies
marriage
does
constitution
okay,
have
so
to
no
reign
one
supreme?
no one answer, no one from the Constitution Committee answer, only 2020 is the answer. How many bodies are there in the government?
Oh, this is so easy.
I was on the CRC.
Go on.
Two.
Judiciary and
Judiciary,
council.
Sorry.
Okay, what do you think the one was?
I was thinking
The
the
student body.
legislative.
Executives.
Alright, thank you. We don't need
And then,
comments.
So you would be pleased to know that actually the idea of having students who are not inside the government help in the government as well is already in the Constitution. So the Constitution allows for standing committees to call on a pool of volunteers. I think this is section 4. So read the Constitution. It will empower you, you'll make your job easier, so forth. Okay, so those are the three short questions. I have another question. Who wants to suggest amendments to the Constitution?
Alright, so we'll start left to right here. I assume you will know what they are.
Yeah.
A couple of amendments would be that I think there is a student organization recognition committee